Hello, everyone. I started a little early. I think I hit the wrong button. Uh, can everyone hear me okay? Um, hey, Tom. Hi, Jan. Can you guys hear me all right? Hello? Oh, great. Okay, good. I got here's my microphone all set up and everything. Hi, Javier. Anyway, um, like I said, I got started a little early by mistake. I, I hit the wrong button. But anyway, that happens. Hi, Daniel. Um, so anyway, we got some time that we can get ahead. Hi, Alex. In a way, I hate to start too early because Zeus, if we do, some people say, well, you said you're going to start at 3:30 or 8:30 or 9:30, wherever you're from. And so let's talk about some other stuff while we're waiting for it to be 3:30. And then right at 3:30, we can get going. I have on my black, I guess they're called jeweler's glove or watchmaker's glove or something. Basically, these are for handling the watches and trying to keep all the oils and stuff off of my watches that I was going to talk about today. Hey, Kevin. Um, and what I wanted to talk about is the sort of the origins of movements. It's something dawned on me. I was Hi, Kaz, how's it going? I was looking at my this watch. This is my oh God, I wish I could get some light. That sort of works. This is my Lang and Hein Frederick II, and thanks, Tom. And I I was looking at this, and I was also reading an article. Hey, punctured lung, how's it going? Nelson, hi. And I was reading an article about the how Breitling developed the what's called the BO1, their BO1 movement. And hi, John Doe. This better be good. I was watching the Grateful Dead. Oh man, go back to the Grateful Dead concert, John. They used to have free concerts in Golden Gate Park when I lived in San Francisco, and we'd go watch them. Hi, Forbin. And, and so I mean, like, oh, okay. So let's go trucking, huh? All right. Well, anyway, I was what is it? Yeah, I was looking at this watch, and the thing I liked about it is that it's got this trigonal bridge in the back, and I thought it was really a cool movement, and that was why I got the watch. Plus, great reputation. Krasmir, how's it going? And so, I was thinking about that. Is that like this guy's got he's got like eight calibers, but I think there's only seven because one of the eight calibers was he skipped one. I don't know why. He's holding that for a special caliber, I guess, that he wants. All right, so here's this guy now. Lang and Hines started, boy, in the early 2000s. I'm not sure exactly what the date is on that. And and I think the first movement, or the first movement called Caliber One, they make life easy for you. It's Caliber one, two, three, and they skipped one, so they got about seven. Hey, Flippin, the Flippin. No, you're really not late. I'm just sort of giving some background. Hey, Redskins, and so anyway, so I got to thinking, all right, now I'm reading this thing. It took Breitling 5 years to develop their first in-house movement, and this guy developed seven or eight or whatever it is in roughly around the same time period. And so I have this watch. I know the watchmaker who developed it, and who will be held responsible for it if it goes well or not. I also know that he likes 2.5 hertz, which is, I think, it's 16 or 18,000 vibrations per hour. It's a very slow one. He likes larger size balances with a higher inertia and so forth. Okay, so we got this. Your typical watch, we all know, is 4 hertz, 28,800. Hey, Lawrence, and so it's sort of into this that I think, well, what do I know about my watches and their movements? And why is it that it took Breitling 5 years to develop one movement? And then when they developed their next one, I think it's called the B20, they developed it in concert with Tudor. And Tudor and Breitling developed a movement together, which for some reason I always like that idea of cooperation between companies making it. Mustafa, how's it going, man? And so I thought, well, okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, does lower hertz mean less accurate? John, what it means is that you can be less precise of a watchmaker. Okay, and so you don't have to have quite the fine level of craftsmanship to be blunt about it. Now, on the other hand, you have in Breitling's case, and I think in Tudor's case as well, and a lot of these others, they're really thinking about two things. One thing is, how can we develop a movement that we can use with a lot of different watches? Okay, so some of these watches, you see the date window about almost in the middle of the dial, and that's because they're little small ones, and so they can fit in different size cases. Okay, there's that, um, and so okay, so that's one thing. The other thing, beside having those kinds of concerns, companies like Breitling have to concern themselves with mass production. Okay, how are we going to mass produce this thing? And they're making what, 50,000 or more watches a year, and you know, old Lang is making 50. And so it's this kind of thing, and trying to figure out, okay, who's doing it. Now, on this watch, this has a very special movement that I got, and I got to watch for it, and it's because of a double hairspring. And the double hairspring keeps the balance wheel centered on its axle. Okay, so who did that? I don't know. I know that it was developed by Precision Engineering, which is the name of the family-owned company that owns. Wait a minute. Yeah, the family-owned company that also owns H. Moser. Now, here we have a similar thing going on. This is my Beauvais 1930, and the movement is in-house, and it's in part of a Beauvais company called Demier. And Demier made the movement, and who made it, I don't know. It wasn't Joe Demier, it was somebody working there. Okay, so you have your in-house movement, and you have somebody you know. Okay, you can identify someone. Now, here, in my outlaw movement that I referred to on more than one occasion, it's an outlaw movement because the guy ended up in jail. Jacquet, I think it was Jean-Philippe Jacquet who developed it, and it's such a cool movement. And he developed this movement, and it's used by 4 or 5 different watch companies. This one is by Maurice Lacroix, but it's Baume & Mercier. Dunhill and some other ones also use it. So there's another thing. It's like, okay, um, I don't care about the watch company, but I do care about the movement, and I can follow that movement around. Now, with this one, this is my Harry Winston, and I I talked to a guy named you guys may know Reed, and I talked to Reed who is at uh, Gerard Perregaux. Okay, Gerard Perregaux made the basic movement for this. Who in Gerard Perregaux? Who knows? I have no idea. But the this is a bi-retrograde, and the retrograde module was made by Agenhor, and it was made by what was it? Jean-Marc Wiederreich. Okay, now he was the first guy to win the Watchmaker of the Year. So in these, I know who made it. Now here's another one like that, and this is Christian van der Klaw. And the funny thing about Christian van der Klaw is that the main movement was by Soprod, which came out of Seiko, but the module, which is runs my little moon, is by Christian van der Klaw. So it's that kind of thing. And is that important? Does it matter? I mean, it's like an in-house. Now, going back to Breitling, for a long time, yeah. Here's my this is by Richard Harbring. If you get a Harbring too, you know Richard Harbring designed the movement. Now, by the way, too, this is something I think is important that you'll find in a lot of watch companies, including some of these smaller ones. Richard Harbring made a movement that he called the A11 for Austria for 2011 when it came out. And then he has all kinds of modifications on that basic movement. The same is true by Breitling. They have the B01, the B02, and BO and up to, I think it goes up to B05 or something like that. And all of these have the base are the B01. Okay. Then it jumps to B012, and it's got this, or not just B12, which also has a B01 base to it. And then later on, they went to one called the B20, which was co-developed, I think, with Tudor. All right, so you have all of this stuff going on. And okay, so here we have this. Why in the world do these watch companies that call themselves watch companies have such a hard time in their movement development? If you look at here's another one. This one to me is really interesting. This is the FP Journe chronomet resonance. Now, was this designed by FP Journe? Did he design the movement? Well, yes, he did. But hey, Mason, hi, Haja, hi, Richard. Also, but the thing of it is that this movement, he took it from a movement that was by Abraham Breguet. One of the interesting things about FP Journe, shortly before George Daniels died, gave him a watch. He gave him a chronomet Sylvain, and on the back of it, on one of the bridges, it said, to G. Daniels from your student or from our mentor or something like that. Well, F.P. Journe wasn't his student, right? The only, let's say, apprentice, I think, that George Daniels ever had was Roger Smith, okay? But still, he was treated as that. Now, I think the reason why is George Daniels' book on Breguet, not the more popular one, not this is the one that most people think of. They think of the George Daniels watchmaking book as it's probably the best-selling one, but the one that was important to F.P. Journe was the one by Breguet. And so his movement is based on what Breguet had done ahead of him, which to me is really wonderful. excuse me. Hey, Forrest. So the, the point of all of this is, well, a lot of this stuff about, oh, it's so expensive to make a movement. You know, I don't know how many movements that FP Journe has developed, but a lot of them, sure, some of them, in fact, a lot of them are based on what George Daniels had sort of passed on from Breguet onto FP Journe. The guys like uh, Marco Lang seems to, you know, make a new movement on his lunch break. So it's sort of like, yeah, same with Roger Smith, Krasimir. Yeah, Roger Smith does the same thing. He's got these wonderful movements. The watch I have on, this is a Parmigiani Colpa. Now, this I know the movement was, I think, one of the first, if not the first, that was made by uh, Michel Parmigiani. Okay, so if I have a Parmigiani, I know he's the guy who designed it. I know that Vaucher does the production of it, and so I'm familiar with it. Now, one of the things that some of the companies have done, I'm sort of interested in your opinions on this. What do you think of companies like Val Fleurier? Because Val Fleurier is owned by and developed by the Richemont Group. And what the Richemont Group wants to do is they want to have sort of this base entry level movement that they can put in different watches that they in companies they own. Now, this includes a Longa, it includes Vacheron Constantin, Jaeger LeCoultre, Cartier. Cartier is they've been picking them up wherever they can for a while, so probably a move up for them. Hey, Julius. So the hey from Finland. Hi, I don't have my Finland hat on today. Sorry, Julius. I had it on earlier when we went for a walk, but not now. So so this is the kind of thing. Um, I don't know, Bruce. I don't know. If they're mimicking Swatch or because in some respects they may be. This is another thing too. Looking at ETA, how many ETA movements that are famous movements that they have were actually developed initially by ETA? If you look at them, you have your top ones. Your 7750 is Valjoux. Your 649798 is by Unitas. Your 7001 is by Pezou. I'm not. I mean, like, which ones really came out of ETA, or were these ones they sort of gathered up as Swatch bought these different companies? And so what we have, I mean, there some of their best ones. Yeah, Eterna, Unitas. Yeah, right, Maison. That's what I'm talking about. So I mean, these two, I don't know. You have Lamania. Yeah, right, Bruce. Lamania is a fantastic one. In fact, I've looked for ETA ones that have a Lamania base to them, and just to get the Lamania base. Then I expect prices to come down. Wishful thinking. No, Forrest Cop, you're right. They do. If you look at the new entry level Vacheron Constantin that has the Val Fleurier movement in it, it's like half the price of the old entry level, which was around 20,000, maybe 15. Okay, so and that's what we're talking stainless steel. Okay. Minerva. Minerva, I don't think I think Minerva is now owned. I don't think they're owned by ETA. They're owned by I think um, who owns them? Um, the pen company. I can't think of their name. Uh, Mont Blanc. I think Mont Blanc owns them, but I'm not positive. Um, and I'm not sure if Mont Blanc may be owned by Richemont. I'm not positive about that. But anyway, hey Vlad. Um, yeah, Mont Blanc. Yeah, you guys have it. Anyway, so you have all of these rules, and then we say, well, people say, well, how come you like these? You know, these. Hey Neil, how come you like these sort of off-centered movements? Well, they're not off-centered. I like to know who made them. I like to know who's behind, who actually made the movement. A lot of these companies, you don't know. You know, I'm still not happy with companies like Cartier, companies like uh, you name it, that give you these. Well, Breitling is. I hate to have them being sort of like a scapegoat for all of them, but they'll do nicely because I was going through the Breitling movements. Looking at the B01, see how they developed it and what role Tudor played, and then got up to the B20, and then how they and Tudor both gave things to each other that they both needed. Okay, so that was sort of cool. That's how come I think I like it. And so you bring in the best of two different groups. Hey, nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned. But my big thing is that watch buyers like us, people act as though we don't count. We're the ones that bring the money into it. And for them not to be wholly transparent with it just fries me. I was looking at some watches today by Breitling, and again, I sound like I'm picking on Breitling. I don't mean to, but there you have it. And there were these three watches. They were aviation watches. I think there were three or four. I forgot. And they were based on the World War II plane called the P-40. The thing is, what else? Hey, crappy. They were called see what were they called? Warhawks. They had different names for them. But anyway, so it's on that. So I was looking at those, and they had three different models, and two of them were B something movements in it. And then the most expensive one is called a B01, which is part of a series of B01s, which are an in-house movement that Breitling came out with in 2009. Okay, they came out with a B20 later on, and that was the one. And again, getting it straight of what Tudor did and what Breitling did in the B20, which is called MT something or other. Yeah, Curtis P40 Warhawk. That's it. The British had another name for it too, and I forget what it was called. Well, anyway, so yeah, so they have this watch with the P40 on it, and two of the models, I think, have an ETA in it, but you wouldn't know that because it says B something or other movement when you read the specs of it. Now, in reading this about that, what the folks at Breitling say, well, yeah, it's got an ETA, but all of our stuff, we get the COSC version of ETA, or we soup them up so that they will meet COSC standards, which I think is great, which is fantastic. And they say that. Okay, why not say that at the outset? Why not say, okay, this has got an ETA value 7750. All right. And here's what we did to it. We took the IBOSH, we did this and this and this and this, and that's why it's better. Okay. Or that's why it's worth more than, going down and getting some Rudy Poo ETA like I do and make watches from them. See, this is the thing. One of the things I learned about the whole process of watchmaking, well, you got a case, you got a dial, you got hands, you slap them all together and you got a watch. So I mean, we're not dealing with rocket science. All right, that's the other thing, and that's how come I encourage everybody else to get involved. Hey, Sean, how's it going? Um, so yeah, the tomahawk. You're right, Bruce. Way to go. Yeah, Bruce. I know about you, Bruce. Bruce is a military history buff. So way to go. Okay, so anyway, so what are your thoughts on it? I've been going on like a a sprung watch. Hi, Jeff. Um, what do you think of that? I mean, in terms of your watch, how many watches that you own can you say, I know who did the movement for this? I know who designed it. Anybody? Which watch is it? No one? Can you hear me? Okay. IWC, yeah. Oh, don't get me started on IWC. Michael, all of mine. Okay, Michael, tell me what kind of watches you got. Seiko Spring Drive. Yeah, well, who was it? It's the guy's name is not Hirohito Seiko. It's something else, right? I don't know who did the movement in terms of the person who did it. I know that it was done by Precision Engineering because they do all of H. Moser's. RGM. Okay, are you sure about RGM, Jack? Okay, because RGM uses Valjoux. They use a lot of other ones too. There's only I think it's the 301. I could be mistaken, or 810 that RGM does that he actually considers in-house. One Rolex, three Parmies, and none of those. Michael, you don't know the name of the watchmaker on any of those. There's nothing wrong with them. I just, it's just one of the. It was just like a question. High like watches. There's a Parmigiani say it has a voucher in it, a Vasseur. They don't. Well, okay. There's a difference between being developed manufactured by Vasseur and designed by the person who designs it. Now, I don't think there's any watchmaker. In fact, I think that you have a team that will construct a watch and put it together, but we're talking about who designed it. And I mean, it's like, Michael, are you sure about? I have here is one which I can tell more. This is the Maurice Lacroix, and I know that Jean-Philippe Jacquet did the movement for it. Okay, I mean he was the one who designed it. Now they don't have to be a good guy because this guy wasn't. By the way, too, what he was involved in, they stole a bunch of gold cases that were made for Rolexes, and they've never found the cases. So that's sort of a fun thing. Hi, Jamie. Okay, the Omega coaxial. Great example. The coaxial and an Omega was by who? Who did the coaxial and Omega? Because to me, that's a really important element. It's actually what they did. It's the escapement. Nowadays, it's probably a group of designers. Vlad, you're absolutely right. That's generally what it is. George Daniels, there you go. Okay, so you have something. If you've got an Omega with a coaxial, at least you know who designed the escapement. Okay. Vlad's point about a group of we'll say watchmakers, craftsmen. This particular is called a Jacquet. Uh-oh. Hang on a sec. Is everything okay? I got a little flashing saying that I have an unstable movement. I hope it's okay now. Anyway, so at least I know the designer. If he did it from jail, it'd probably be a really good one. He's got nothing else to do. He did it before he went to jail. Stable, Flip and Zippo. Okay, yeah, Neil, something happened. I don't know what it was. Who knows? Could have been somebody opened the garage door, turned on the microwave. God knows. Uh, there was a wobble in the stream, but it's okay now. Yeah, it was what happened. It wobbled on me. No, the reason. Okay, why is it important to know who designed it, who was involved? For about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a team of three guys at Vacheron Constantin who won a Grand Prix award for developing the most complicated mechanical watch ever built. It had, I think it was 2013, maybe 2014 or 15, right in there. And they won an award for it. There are these three guys, and they won the award. But and if you find out who they are, you can identify it. But that's like a multi-million-dollar watch that none of us can even think about buying. At least I can't. Okay, so it's something I think that's sort of fun. I mean, like we're supposed to have fun with watch collection, and to me, one of the fun things about it is to find out stuff like this. Some of it's easy. Harboring too. It's going to be Richard Harboring. Same thing with the with FP Journe, with Lang and Hein. It gets a little more complex with Christian Vanderclaw. There's sort of a split in his watches. Half of them have modules by Christian Vanderclaw and movements by Soprod, and then the other half, and I might say the extremely expensive half, are all by Christian Vanderclaw. And then you have this guy's Harry Winston. Every year they had a different Opus series who was by a different designer. But like the first Opus he had, they were simply, kind of forgot which one it was. I know the designer was Jay. Stop it. The the designer was FP Journe for Opus One. And if you go through the Opus or Opie or whatever they are, you find these different ones. Then it was bought. Then Harry Winston was bought by Swatch. Well, they paid over $1 billion for Harry Winston, which was mainly, I think, the famous jeweler. Hey, howdy. The howdy. So what happened to me? They may have lost something because when the guys that I was in the boutique in New York and talking to the guys shortly after they've been bought by Swatch, and one of the guys told me, he said, "Well, from now on, all of the movements are going to be by Blancpain." So that I was, yeah, the guy was told that maybe. But then I found out, well, no, they're going to stick with the Opus, and every year they're going to have a different developer for it. Hey, Bill A., how you doing? Now, Bill is another watchmaker. Okay, we have the movements we have are made by somebody in a sweatshop somewhere. What the next watch is on my list? Hey, PSK 31. Oh, what watches are on my list? Let me tell you another watch that somebody reminded me of today that sort of it's always on my radar. Have any of you heard of Sven Anderson? He is like a really extremely good watchmaker. If you get a Sven Anderson, you know it's by him. The one that I saw, I did see one today that I like, and it's a world timer. I'm very hesitant about it because I have my hemisphere, my Parmigiani hemisphere is just a great world timer. I don't know whether how much his name, such a common Danish Swedish name. Um, yeah, I got a pretty common name too, so I know about common names. Um, anyway, so that would be one on my list, and then the Chilean. Well, I got three watches. The Sven Anderson is one of those ones that's always on my radar. It's one of those ones you're sort of going along, and you have it at the back of your mind. You're not really thinking, and all of a sudden, boom, one comes up at an affordable price, and you grab it. The other two I have is the Rolex Cellini Prince. Now, that is a movement I would like to find out more about, the Cellini Prince movement. Then the other one is the Harboring 2 Doppel Felix. Now, I know who did the movement on that. That has the same movement as mine with this incredible Rattrapant, all of this other stuff they put on it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Bruce, you're right. Do you think Jacques Dros's movement you have could be based on a 7001? I don't have a Jacques Dros. This is a Jean-Philippe Jacques. Jacques Dros is actually Jacques Dros is the name of a guy who was way back in I think the 1700s. Piece of information. Hey, Franisek, the Jacques Dros married a gal named I think her name was Marianne Sandoz, and the Sandoz family are the ones who own Parmigiani and Vacher and all of that. So it's sort of like a interesting kind of little thing there. Tudor also uses Prince movement. Oh, do they? Which one, Franisek? I I haven't seen any Tudor that has that kind of sort of rectangular shape movement that I see in the prints. I, uh, boy, if there's a, I would love to have a Tudor that has that Prince movement. That would be so cool, especially if it had an exhibition window with it. Oh, yeah, oh, Anderson, yeah, Anderson has got more than dogs playing poker. Yeah, it's this guy. It's not. He's got a whole line of erotic watches too. The ones I'm talking about and I like are different ones. the, he's got he has this automata, and some of his topics are sort of interesting. With that, an Oceana Titanium by Pitta. I don't know that one. Cabernet de Curious. I don't know those either. Um, anyway, well, listen, guys, I'm sorry I'm out of time. It's 4:04. I gotta turn into a pumpkin after half an hour. But anyway, I just wanted to get everyone to think about that. WX Jeffrey, nice seeing you. And so, oh, tomorrow I've got there's going to be a collection review. I think you're going to like. It's really interesting. Hope to see you then. Take care.